The breaking point. The Grand Assembly Hall stretched across 3 kilometers of polished crystalline floor. Its dome rose so high that clouds sometimes formed near the ceiling. Around the circular chamber, thousands of seats climbed upward in concentric rings, each occupied by representatives from species that had traversed the stars for millennia. The air hummed with translation devices converting countless languages into comprehensible speech. At the center podium stood Chief Arbiter Xyloth, a being whose species had witnessed the birth and death of civilizations. His form shimmered between states of matter, sometimes solid, sometimes like liquid light. He commanded the assembly with absolute authority, his voice resonating through every translation device simultaneously. In Section 47, Row 892, Seat 3, Dr. Elena Vasquez sat alone. The human section consisted of 1 chair in the furthest corner of the assembly hall. From this distance, the chief arbiter appeared no larger than her thumb. Dr. Vasquez wore a simple black suit, her gray hair pulled back efficiently. Her hands rested on a small data pad in her lap. She had sat in this exact position for 15 years, attending every major assembly session. In all that time, she had never once pressed her speaking button. The assembly members had long since stopped noticing her presence. To them, she was furniture, a formality. Earth had been granted observer status after first contact, allowed to witness galactic governance but never to participate. Most species forgot humans even existed. Today's session concerned economic matters. The Vrex Consortium reported record profits from mining operations in the outer sectors. The Crystalline Collective proposed new trade routes through previously restricted space. Delegates argued over tariffs and resource allocation with the passion of those who had argued about such things for thousands of years. Dr. Vasquez watched everything. Her dark eyes tracked each speaker. Her datapad recorded every word, every vote, every casual comment made between delegates. She had filled 47,000 pages of notes over 15 years. She knew the political alliances better than most assembly members. She understood the economic relationships that bound the galaxy together, and she had shared all of this information with Earth. Chief Arbiter Xyloth raised one shimmering appendage. The assembly fell silent. We now address Proposal 8847, the Galactic Expansion Initiative, the massive holographic display activated above the chamber floor. A 3-dimensional map of the galaxy appeared, rotating slowly. Colored regions showed territories controlled by various species. Small gray dots marked unexplored or underutilized regions. Delegate Korthax of the Vrex Consortium approached the speaking platform. His species resembled upright reptiles with 6 arms and scales that changed color with emotion. Currently, his scales gleamed bright orange, indicating excitement. Honored Assembly, we have identified 47 worlds with significant untapped resources. These planets are either uninhabited or occupied by species lacking the technology to properly utilize what they possess. The holographic display zoomed in on specific star systems. Each appeared with detailed planetary data, resource concentrations, atmospheric conditions, gravitational specifications. Dr. Vasquez recognized several systems near Earth's region of space. The proposal is simple, Korthax continued. The Assembly grants extraction rights to qualified corporations. In exchange, the native populations receive technology, infrastructure, and a small percentage of profits. Everyone benefits. His scales rippled with satisfaction. Several delegates murmured approval. This was standard practice in the galaxy. Advanced civilizations had been managing primitive worlds for eons. It was considered charitable, even generous. The holographic display shifted again. Dr. Vasquez felt her heartbeat accelerate. A yellow star appeared, surrounded by familiar planets. The Sol system. Earth. Korthax gestured toward the display with 3 of his 6 arms. An excellent example. Planet Earth. Designation Sol 3. The native humans have been assembly observers for 15 years, but have contributed nothing to galactic civilization. His scales shifted toward purple, indicating condescension. They possess no significant technology. Their political structure remains fractured. Their industrial capacity is primitive. The display zoomed closer to Earth. The blue planet rotated slowly, beautiful and vulnerable. But look at these oceans, Korthax said with growing enthusiasm. 71% of the planetary surface is water. Beneath these oceans lie mineral deposits worth approximately 890 trillion credits. Rare earth elements, precious metals, energy-rich compounds. And what do the humans do with this wealth? He paused for dramatic effect. Nothing. They extract a fraction of 1%. The rest sits unused, wasted. His scales turned bright red, indicating righteous indignation. This is irresponsible planetary management. Laughter rippled through the assembly. Thousands of delegates found humor in humanity's inadequacy. Some made comments in their own languages that the translation devices rendered as variations of typical primitives and fortunate fools. Korthax pressed on. I propose the Assembly grant my consortium extraction rights to Earth's Pacific, Atlantic, and Indian Oceans. We will establish deep-sea mining operations. In exchange, we will provide Earth with basic faster-than-light communication technology and 2% of net profits. The humans will be far better off under our guidance. The laughter grew louder. Several delegates applauded. Chief Arbiter Xyloth's form flickered with what might have been amusement. An interesting proposal. Does anyone object? Dr. Vasquez's finger hovered over her speaking button. She had never pressed it before. For 15 years she had maintained perfect silence. Her instructions from Earth had been clear. Observe, learn, and wait. Wait for the moment when silence would cost more than speech. This was that moment. But before she could press the button, another delegate stood. Matriarch Sylvena of the Phaedrus Empire approached the speaking platform. Her species appeared vaguely humanoid but with luminescent skin and 3 eyes arranged in a triangle on her face. She was considered one of the Assembly's most respected voices. I support this proposal, Sylvena said, her voice carrying the weight of authority. But I wish to add context for younger delegates who may not understand why such measures are necessary. The holographic display changed again, now showing images of Earth throughout its history. Observe humanity's record, Sylvena continued. Countless wars fought over trivial differences. Environmental destruction on a scale that nearly collapsed their own biosphere. They divided their single world into competing nations that still argue over invisible lines. The images showed war-torn cities, polluted rivers, deforested landscapes. The editing was selective, showing only humanity's worst moments. This is a species that nearly exterminated itself multiple times, Sylvena said. They possess nuclear weapons but barely avoided using them to destroy their own planet. They discovered their ocean's resources decades ago, but lack the wisdom to extract them responsibly. Her third eye, the one in the center of her forehead, fixed on the human section of the assembly hall. They are children playing with treasures they cannot comprehend. More laughter. More agreement. Delegates nodded with all available appendages. This was the natural order of things. The advanced guided the primitive. The strong managed the weak. Chief Arbiter Xyloth's form solidified slightly. I have reviewed the proposal. It meets all legal requirements under Assembly Charter Section 4I-49. Unless there is formal objection, we will proceed to vote in 30 standard time units. He paused, his gaze sweeping across the chamber. Are there any objections? Dr. Vasquez pressed her speaking button. A soft chime echoed through the assembly hall. Every delegate turned toward Section 47, Row 892, Seat 3, the human section. Many delegates had to check their seating charts to remember what species occupied that distant corner. Chief Arbiter Xyloth's form flickered with surprise. The translation devices struggled for a moment before announcing, "The Earth delegation requests to speak." Silence fell across the chamber. It was not the comfortable silence of routine proceedings. It was the shocked silence of the impossible occurring. In 15 years, the human had never spoken. Many delegates had assumed she was mute or perhaps just decorative. Dr. Vasquez stood. Her voice, when it came through the translation network, was calm and clear. Chief Arbiter, I formally request a recess of 45 standard days before any vote on Proposal 8847. Xyloth's form swirled with confusion. For what purpose? To consult with my government, Dr. Vasquez replied. This proposal directly affects Earth's sovereignty. Under Assembly Charter Section 12, observer species have the right to governmental consultation before votes affecting their homeworld. Technically correct, Xyloth admitted, but unnecessary. The proposal benefits Earth significantly. That determination should be made by Earth, Dr. Vasquez said. Her tone remained polite but firm. I request 45 days, Delegate Korthax laughed, his scales flashing bright orange. By all means, let the primitive consult with her primitive government. The result will not change. His 6 arms spread wide in a gesture of mock generosity. We are patient. We can wait 45 days for the inevitable acceptance. Matriarch Sylvena's 3 eyes focused on Dr. Vasquez. Do you truly believe your government can formulate a meaningful response to our proposal? Earth has no galactic legal experts, no economic analysts capable of understanding intersystem trade, no voice in this assembly beyond observation. We have learned much by observing, Dr. Vasquez said quietly. Those words carried an undertone that made several nearby delegates shift uncomfortably. Chief Arbiter Xyloth considered for a moment. Very well. 45 standard days are granted. We will reconvene to vote at that time. He gestured toward Dr. Vasquez with something that might have been curiosity or condescension. I suggest you use this time wisely, human. Help your government understand that this proposal serves their best interests. Dr. Vasquez gathered her datapad. Thank you, Chief Arbiter. She turned and walked toward the exit. Her footsteps echoed in the sudden silence. As she reached the chamber doors, Korthax's voice called out behind her. Do not waste our time with futile protests, human. The galaxy has managed primitive worlds for millennia. Your Earth will be no different. Dr. Vasquez paused at the doorway. She did not turn around. We shall see, she said softly. Then she left. The assembly erupted in conversation the moment the doors closed behind her. Most delegates laughed about the human's pointless gesture. Some placed bets on how quickly Earth would accept the proposal. A few, the wisest and most experienced, felt a small tremor of unease they could not quite explain. Dr. Vasquez walked through the station corridors toward her private shuttle. Her face remained calm, but her mind raced. She had been waiting 15 years for this moment. Earth had been waiting even longer. Since first contact, humanity had made a choice. They could either try to compete in a galaxy where they were the weakest, newest, most primitive species, or they could do what humans had always done best: adapt, learn, and prepare in silence. The galaxy thought Earth was weak because Earth stayed quiet. They thought humanity was primitive because humans asked for nothing. They thought the oceans held untapped wealth because they never looked beneath the surface. They were about to learn how wrong they had. Then Dr. Vasquez boarded her shuttle and set course for Earth. Behind her, the assembly continued their session, confident in their superiority. None of them noticed the slight smile on her face as her ship jumped to faster-than-light speed. The 45-day countdown had begun, and Earth was finally ready to speak. The awakening. The shuttle broke through Earth's atmosphere exactly 12 hours after Dr. Vasquez left the assembly station. She watched through the viewport as clouds parted to reveal the planet below. From orbit, Earth looked exactly as the assembly delegates had seen it. Blue oceans covering most of the surface, green and brown continents, white ice caps at the poles. Beautiful, peaceful, and seemingly primitive, Dr. Vasquez knew better. Appearances, she had learned over 15 years, were humanity's greatest weapon. The shuttle landed in Geneva at the Unified Earth Command headquarters. The building looked modest from outside, just 40 stories of glass and steel. But Dr. Vasquez took an elevator that descended, not up, down 200 floors into the mountain beneath Geneva, down to where Earth's real government operated. The command center occupied a space the size of a small city. Holographic displays filled the air, showing data from across the solar system. Thousands of personnel worked at stations monitoring everything from asteroid mining operations to deep space sensor networks. At the center of it all sat the Council of Seven, the leaders who had guided humanity since first contact. Director James Okafor stood as Dr. Vasquez entered. He was a tall man in his 70s with gray hair and eyes that had seen humanity's darkest hours and brightest achievements. They made their move, he said. It was not a question. Dr. Vasquez nodded. They want our oceans. Korthax proposed extraction rights to the Pacific, Atlantic, and Indian. 2% profits in exchange for basic FTL communication. The other council members reacted with bitter laughter. 2%, said Director Chenwei, head of Oceanic Operations. They offer us 2% of our own resources. How generous, added Director Amara Okonkwo, head of Military Coordination. Her voice dripped with sarcasm. They truly believe we are fools. They believe what we wanted them to believe, Okafor said. He gestured toward the massive holographic display at the room's center. Show her. The display activated, showing Earth from space. Then it zoomed in on the Pacific Ocean. The view penetrated the water's surface, diving deeper and deeper. At 3,000 meters depth, the darkness suddenly gave way to light. Cities, massive underwater cities spread across the ocean floor. Dome structures kilometers wide housed millions of people. Transportation tubes connected the cities like luminous veins. Agricultural centers grew food in controlled environments. Manufacturing facilities produced technology the assembly had never imagined. Energy generators drew power from thermal vents and ocean currents. Pacific Deep Network, Dr. Vasquez whispered. She had known it existed, had received reports over the years, but seeing it all together took her breath away. Population 47 million, Director Chen said with pride, fully self-sufficient. They've developed materials science 200 years ahead of assembly standard technology. The pressure resistance alloys alone would revolutionize galactic engineering. The display shifted to the Atlantic. More cities appeared, these ones even larger. Research facilities the size of mountains. Genetic laboratories where humanity had unlocked secrets of DNA manipulation. Physics institutes where scientists bent the rules of reality itself. Atlantic Nexus, Director Chen continued. Population 63 million. They've achieved quantum computing at scales the assembly considers impossible. Our AI networks process information faster than the crystalline collective's best systems. The Indian Ocean revealed agricultural and biological research centers. The Arctic showed military installations hidden beneath ice. The Antarctic had become a massive industrial complex producing starship components. This is what they want to claim, Okafor said. This is the primitive ocean they think lies unused. Dr. Vasquez felt emotion she had suppressed for 15 years rising to the surface. Pride, anger, vindication. How many know? Director Okonkwo answered. 340 million people live in oceanic cities worldwide. Another 200 million work in classified facilities on Luna and Mars. Total, about 8% of Earth's population is directly involved in what we call the silent preparation. And the rest of humanity? Dr. Vasquez asked. They know we're preparing for something, Okafor said. They don't know the full scope. We needed operational security. The assembly has observers, spies, sympathizers on Earth. We couldn't risk premature discovery. The holographic display expanded to show the entire solar system. Luna appeared, Earth's moon. But instead of the abandoned research stations the assembly had documented, the display showed thriving cities inside the moon itself. Millions of people lived in vast caverns protected from radiation and cosmic rays. Lunar Command, Director Okonkwo said, population 89 million, primary military headquarters and shipyard production. She smiled coldly. They've been building ships for 14 years. The display showed Mars next. The red planet was supposedly abandoned except for a few automated mineral extractors. The truth was far different. Beneath the surface, humanity had carved out an entire civilization. Underground cities stretched across the planet. Terraforming had begun from below, preparing Mars for an eventual surface population. Mars Colony Alpha through Epsilon, Okafor said. Combined population, 124 million. They're 30 years from breathing surface air without assistance. Dr. Vasquez realized the scope of what humanity had accomplished. While the assembly dismissed them as primitives, humans had spread across the solar system. While aliens laughed at their lack of contribution, humans had been building an empire in secret. The asteroid belt appeared on the display. Thousands of habitats clung to larger asteroids. Mining operations extracted resources at rates that would shame assembly corporations. Construction facilities assembled ship components. Refineries processed materials into forms the galaxy had never seen. Belt Industrial Zone, Director Chen said. Population 178 million. They supply 87% of our raw materials and manufacture everything from hull plating to quantum drives. How did we hide all of this? Dr. Vasquez asked. The assembly has surveyed the solar system dozens of times. We didn't hide it, Okafor said. We disguised it. Every survey ship saw exactly what we wanted them to see. False readings, holographic camouflage, carefully orchestrated misdirection. He leaned forward. Elena, we've had 15 years to study their technology. We know how their sensors work better than they do. We can fool them effortlessly. Director Okonkwo pulled up new images. These showed ships. Thousands of ships. But they were unlike anything Dr. Vasquez had seen in the assembly. Where galactic ships were bulky and slow, these were sleek and elegant. Where assembly vessels relied on conventional drives, these showed exotic propulsion systems. The Silent Fleet, Okonkwo said with quiet pride. 4,000 warships of various classes. Everything from fast attack corvettes to carriers that deploy 500 fighters. She paused. We've been studying every war in assembly history. Every tactic, every strategy, every weakness. And we built a navy specifically designed to exploit those weaknesses. What technologies? Dr. Vasquez asked. Quantum tunnel drives that. Create instant point-to-point jumps without requiring jump gates, Director Chen listed. Graviton beam weapons that disable ships without destroying them. Neural network tactical coordination that allows fleet-wide decision-making in nanoseconds. Adaptive armor that adjusts to incoming fire. Stealth systems that make our ships invisible to every known sensor type. The assembly has nothing like this? Dr. Vasquez asked, though she already knew the answer. The assembly is complacent, Okafor said. They've been the dominant power for so long they stopped innovating. They rely on technology thousands of years old because it works well enough. He smiled grimly. We had no such luxury. We were the weakest, so we became the smartest. Dr. Vasquez absorbed all of this. The scale of deception was staggering. For 15 years, she had sat in that assembly hall, silent and dismissed, while humanity built an interstellar civilization under the galaxy's nose. What's the plan? She asked. Director Okonkwo activated a tactical display. In 45 days you return to the assembly. Korthax will call for a vote on his proposal. Before that vote, you present Earth's formal response. Which is? The truth, Okafor said simply. We show them everything. Every city, every ship, every technological achievement they missed. We demonstrate that Earth is not a primitive world to be managed, but a sovereign power to be respected. And if they reject that? Dr. Vasquez asked. If they try to take our oceans by force? Then we defend ourselves, Director Okonkwo said. Her eyes were hard as steel. The Silent Fleet will deploy. We will drive any hostile forces from our system, and we will demonstrate to the galaxy that humanity is not to be trifled with. It could mean war, Dr. Vasquez said quietly. It could, Okafor agreed, but doing nothing guarantees our subjugation. Better to fight and die free than to live as subjects in our own system. The council members around the table nodded in agreement. These were people who had dedicated their lives to this moment. They had built cities beneath oceans, carved civilizations from moons and asteroids, created fleets in secret. They had sacrificed normal lives, endured mockery and dismissal, all to ensure humanity's independence. Dr. Vasquez felt the weight of 15 years lift from her shoulders. All those sessions listening to insults, all those moments of biting her tongue while aliens mocked her species. It had all been for this. When do we begin? She asked. Now, Okafor said. We have 45 days to prepare the demonstration. We'll create a presentation that will change the galaxy's perception of humanity forever. The next 45 days passed in a blur of preparation. Deep beneath Earth's oceans, technicians assembled the demonstration equipment. On Luna, military commanders ran final drills with the Silent Fleet. On Mars, diplomats drafted documents outlining Earth's position in language the assembly could not misinterpret. Dr. Vasquez worked 20-hour days, coordinating with experts across the solar system. She reviewed every detail of the presentation. She studied assembly law to ensure Earth's actions remained technically legal. She prepared for every possible response the delegates might have. On day 44, she boarded her shuttle for the journey back to the assembly station. As Earth shrank behind her, she thought about everything humanity had accomplished. They had come so far from those first nervous days after contact, when the galaxy seemed impossibly vast and humanity impossibly small. Now, humanity was about to prove they were small no longer. The assembly hall filled on day 45. Every delegate attended, drawn by curiosity about the humans' response. Most expected entertainment. A primitive species attempting to negotiate with their betters. Perhaps the human would beg. Perhaps she would offer Earth's oceans in exchange for better terms. Perhaps she would simply accept the inevitable. Chief Arbiter Xyloth called the session to order. The vote on Proposal 8847 will proceed shortly. But first, Dr. Vasquez of Earth has requested time to present her government's response. He gestured toward the human section with barely concealed amusement. The assembly recognizes Earth. Dr. Vasquez stood and walked to the central speaking platform. Every eye in the chamber watched her. Thousands of species, millions of years of combined civilization, all focused on one human woman from a supposedly primitive world. She placed a small device on the platform. Honored delegates, she began, her voice calm and clear. Earth has considered the Assembly's proposal carefully. We appreciate the concern for our planetary management. However, we must decline. Laughter rippled through the chamber. Delegate Korthak stood. You decline? His scales flashed orange with amusement. On what grounds? You cannot match our offer. Dr. Vasquez activated her device. On the grounds that we are already utilizing our oceans far more efficiently than your proposal suggests. The central holographic display burst to life. Earth appeared, rotating slowly. Then the view plunged beneath the ocean surface. Gasps echoed through the assembly as the underwater cities appeared. Kilometers of glowing civilization spread across the seafloor. Millions of people going about their lives. Technology that made assembly standard equipment look primitive. This is Pacific Deep, Dr. Vasquez said calmly. Population 47 million, one of 5 major oceanic city networks. Combined population of all ocean facilities, 340 million people. The display shifted, showing manufacturing centers, research laboratories, agricultural zones, all operating at levels the assembly had never achieved. Impossible, Matriarch Sylvana breathed. Our surveys showed nothing. Your surveys showed exactly what we wanted you to see, Dr. Vasquez replied. The display expanded to show the entire solar system. Luna appeared with its hidden cities, Mars with its underground civilization, the asteroid belt with its industrial might. While the assembly dismissed us as primitive, we built this, Dr. Vasquez continued. 540 million humans living and working beyond Earth. Technology decades or centuries ahead of assembly standard in multiple fields. A completely self-sufficient interplanetary civilization. The assembly sat in stunned silence. The evidence was overwhelming. The cities were real. The people were real. The technology was undeniable. Then the display showed the ships. 4,000 vessels appeared in formation around Earth. They materialized simultaneously, decloaking in a coordinated demonstration of capability. Each ship gleamed with advanced materials. Each one radiated power signatures that made assembly warships look like toys. The Silent Fleet, Dr. Vasquez announced, built over 14 years using technology the assembly does not possess. Quantum tunnel drives, graviton weapons, neural network coordination, adaptive defenses. She paused. We could have revealed ourselves at any time. We chose to wait until you forced our hand. Chief Arbiter Xyloth's form flickered with what might have been fear or respect. Why, he asked. Why hide all of this? Because we needed time, Dr. Vasquez said. Time to learn your ways. Time to understand your politics. Time to build strength that would make you respect us rather than conquer us. She looked around the chamber. We stayed silent not from weakness but from wisdom. Delegate Korthax found his voice. This changes nothing. The assembly is vast. You are one system. True, Dr. Vasquez agreed. But we are one system you cannot conquer without devastating losses. She pulled up tactical simulations. Our fleet alone could defeat any single assembly species navy. Combined, you might overwhelm us eventually, but the cost would destabilize the galactic economy for decades. She changed the display to show trade route maps, economic data, political alliances, and we've spent 15 years building relationships with species you ignore, the smaller civilizations, the dismissed voices. They remember that Earth listened when you did not. The display showed dozens of species pledging support for Earth sovereignty, not military support necessarily, but political backing. Economic partnerships, diplomatic recognition. You are not as alone as you thought, Dr. Vasquez said to the assembly, and we are not as weak as you assumed. Chief Arbiter Xyloth studied the data for a long moment. His form solidified into something almost resembling a human posture. What does Earth want? Respect, Dr. Vasquez said simply. Recognition of our sovereignty. full member status in the assembly, not just observer status, the right to defend our own territory, and an acknowledgement that humanity has earned our place among the stars. And if we refuse? Xyloth asked. Then we defend ourselves, Dr. Vasquez replied. We will not fire the first shot, but we will not allow our sovereignty to be violated. The assembly erupted in argument. Some delegates supported Earth, others demanded military action. Still others sat in shocked calculation, reassessing everything they thought they knew about humanity. Finally, Chief Arbiter Xyloth raised an appendage. Order. The chamber fell silent. This assembly will recess for deliberation. We will reconvene in 7 standard days to vote on Earth's petition for full membership. He looked directly at Dr. Vasquez. You have surprised us, human. That does not happen often in a galaxy as old as ours. Dr. Vasquez bowed respectfully. Humanity has always been good at surprises, Chief Arbiter. We survived ice ages, plagues, and our own worst impulses. We learned patience from enduring, and we learned strength from necessity. She straightened. The galaxy would be wise to remember that. She returned to her seat in Section 47, row 892, seat 3, but somehow, from that distant corner, she no longer seemed small. 7 days later, the assembly voted. Earth received full membership status by a narrow margin. Proposal 8847 was withdrawn, and the galaxy learned that humanity, the species they had dismissed for 15 years, was a power that could not be ignored. Dr. Elena Vasquez served 20 more years as Earth's ambassador. In that time, humanity emerged from silence to become one of the Assembly's most influential voices. Not through conquest or intimidation, but through the same qualities that had always defined them: adaptability, innovation, and the patient determination to never give up. The galaxy had insulted humanity for 15 years. They had mocked, dismissed, and underestimated the species from Earth. But in the end, they learned what humans had always known. Silence is not weakness, and patience is not surrender. Sometimes, the quietest voice becomes the most powerful when it finally chooses to speak.